Hi, so we've been asked to make a new blog. The question and answers will have to wait, unfortunately. We need to address some points on model safety. There's some great blogs out there already and everything, but we've been kind of nagged, so here we are. A few points we're going to raise with you. The first one is references. If you're going to shoot with a photographer that you're not familiar with, please make sure that you get references. They can usually be found publicly available on their portfolios. Sites like Purple Port offer a facility to leave a reference when you've worked with somebody. If your gut tells you that something might possibly be wrong, or if there's a lot of models in their portfolio that haven't left references, don't feel like you can't contact those models and ask them for a private reference, because often it's a case that they don't want to speak out and say that something wasn't right, or they weren't happy with their experience, the photographer was unprofessional, they didn't get the pictures back. There's numerous reasons why they might not have left a reference, and it's not always because there's been a bad experience. Sometimes it's just that they haven't got around to it. So do feel free to ask them. There's never any harm in doing so. Your safety is paramount at the end of the day, especially when it comes to things like nude, fetish work, that kind of thing. Do not even think about doing anything like that, because some photographer tells you that that's going to be the thing that's going to launch you into superstardom. It's bullshit, basically. There are very, very few photographers out there that can guarantee you publication, etc., so forth. We're all at the mercy of everybody else. If you're going to be doing nude or anything slightly risque, please make sure that you explain to your photographer, talk to them a while before the shoot. Make sure that your levels are very, very clear, because you don't want to rock up to a shoot that the photographer's thinking you're going to be doing something topless or whatever, and you're going to go, actually, no, I don't do topless. So sort out your levels first and make sure it's very, very clear. If you are uncomfortable, if you're new to that kind of work, ask about taking a chaperone. Some photographers will allow it, some won't. The ones that won't aren't necessarily bad people, it's just how they work, but they should at least understand your concerns. If they're flippant and disregard your concerns out of hand, probably best to avoid them anyway, because you can still talk to someone like they're a human being and appreciate their concerns, no matter how professional you might be or how famous you might be. Always model release forms, figure out before you shoot. Find out what you're entitled to, find out what you can expect to get back from the shoot. Are you going to be getting high-res images or not? Do you get to pick the images, or does the photographer? Again, that usually depends on terms. Was it a TF paid? Were you paying them? Were they paying you? Yeah, there's all kinds of things where that's concerned that don't really have time to go into it all now, but if needed we can at a later time. So yeah, just make sure that you feel comfortable and you feel confident, because there have been too many incidents lately where people haven't spoken out because someone's treated them badly or been inappropriate, and it's culminated in a huge drama that's resulted in people getting threatened and all sorts, just for having opinions. If people had spoken out previously and said, oh, hey, you know what, I've had a horrific experience with this photographer, or there's one particular at the moment that the people are saying he touches me inappropriately during shoots. Never, ever accept that. The photographer asks your permission to touch you, unless, you're good friends with that photographer and they go, oh, I'm just going to adjust your dress or whatever. And yeah, fine. It depends on your relationship with that photographer, but someone that you've never worked with, they never touch you unless you say it's okay. And even then, there are limits to how much they touch you. They do not need to linger. They do not need to make a meal out of it. So just be on your guard. If anything like that happens to you during a shoot, you can at any point say, that's it, the shoot's over and I'm leaving, and walk out the door. If they try to stop you, then that's a whole other world of crap, and will result, hopefully, in you pressing charges against them for assault or whatever. Nobody wants it to come to that, really, but do stand your ground. You are perfectly within your rights to do so. If a photographer speaks to you prior to a shoot and you feel that their mode of speech is inappropriate, do say something to them, primarily to them. Do also let other people know, you know, in your circle that this photographer has spoken to you in a way that you do not feel is appropriate. You are not a piece of meat. You are not a doll. You know, you're a human being. You have rights, and one of those rights is to be spoken to politely. Innuendos, you know, again, if you're friends with your photographer and, you know, you're having a chat, then that's a different ball game. It's your level again. It's how you guys are comfortable working together. But if you approach a photographer or they approach you and there's anything untoward, call them up on it. And the same does apply with models. Unfortunately, models have been known to send inappropriate pictures, to offer things they shouldn't be offering in exchange for publication or, you know, shoots or whatever, because the photographer is famous or something. That's not playing the game either, girls, you know, and guys, so don't do it. If you get to a shoot and everything goes according to plan, wonderful, please leave your photographer a good reference, because word of mouth is so important in this industry. It's how we weed out the good from the bad, and it negates the need for groups being set up in secret, you know, where people go, oh, you know, I need to know about this person, I need to know about that person. Leave them good references. Tell people why you're happy with the person that you've worked with. And photographers, I urge you to do exactly the same. You know, tell people why this model's great. If you feel safe and they make you feel comfortable, let people know. But if they don't, more importantly, let people know about it. You don't want to end up in a situation where you find yourself alone in a room with a guy who's pouring at you and generally just being vile and thinking that you have to stand for that, because you don't. Guy with camera, affectionately or otherwise known as the GWC or the photographer, they are the guys with, you know, either all the gear and no ID or some crappy little compact camera shooting you in some dingy little room. They are not ever going to further your career. They want to take pictures of naked women for their own purposes. So always be aware of those. Often they can be spotted by a complete lack of a portfolio or just generally really, really ropey images. Look out for quality, definitely. And if you come across a GWC, don't go there. You know, even for paid shoots, I would say avoid them, because yeah, they're quite willing to pay women to come and get naked just so that they can perv over them, and that's really just not cricket. So yeah, I mean, really, that's the sort of basic points that we wanted to raise. If there's anything else, feel free to get in touch, give us a shout on Facebook, whatever. You can come and say hey, come and express your concerns, talk to us, get advice, whatever. We're always really happy to help, because in our opinion, everyone's safety is the most important thing in this industry. But also we want everyone to have fun with what they're doing, be it whether you're doing it as your career, it's your livelihood, or whether it is just a hobby. Safety is still incredibly important, and is enjoyment. So have a great Easter, guys, and I hope that everyone stays safe.